The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Look at this, okay? Trevor Beggs not here right now to do this show, even though he made the episode up. Trading Filip Hronek. Let's do it ASAP. Throw me under the bridge, okay? The darkest guy in Canucks podcast history, Trevor Beggs, trying to make me flip the script. Unreal. Be the scapegoat. Should the Canucks trade Filip Hronek? Can we talk about this on Locked On Canucks?
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Locked On Canucks. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive and hop into the show, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because it's your Canucks every damn day. Trying to figure out how we're going to get this team better, and as always, I'm doing this alongside my brother, Kyle Bowen. First and foremost, happy belated birthday, man. Officially 32 and a half years old. Still looking sexy, buddy. How the hell you doing?
Thanks, man. 32 and a half years old. Just trying to surround myself with the right people. And you didn't hear the cold open, but I called you out, okay? I was like, you know what? Trevor's not even here. It's showtime. I got to start the show. I can't keep people waiting. I'm like, yo, this guy wants to trade Filip Hronek. He wants to talk about it, and he's not even here to do it. Trying to make me feel like that guy, or seem like that guy, right? Trevor, man, you toxic, man. Let Filip Hronek enjoy his summer vacation and not look at a thumbnail on YouTube saying he's out of here, okay? He's traded. Traded where? Where is he going? Utah Hockey Club? Anaheim Ducks? Do they want him? Trevor, you're trading Filip Hronek. Well, why? I know why you're doing it, but man, oh man.
Yeah, well, I think with Filip Hronek, the debate surrounds two things, really, and it's Tom Willander, right? Now that Tom Willander's in the fold, you know, this guy does have the potential to be, let's call it the next Filip Hronek. Kyle, I think when we did our comparable episode to Tom Willander, you know, in March, it was you who said that Tom Willander, watching the tape, reminds you of Filip Hronek. And if that's the case, you know, the Canucks, again, you know, they got the Quinn Hughes situation, which is a huge one to figure out. But also, you know, they're not winning the Stanley Cup next year. At least that doesn't appear to be that way. And if that's the case, do you move on from a guy like Filip Hronek, who, again, we haven't really talked about it that much, but he has a no-move clause that kicks in on July 1st, just like Elias Pettersson, right? Ooh. So if you are going to trade Filip Hronek, now is the time to do it. Do you believe in Tom Willander enough to do it? I think that's one of the biggest questions when you consider whether or not to trade him, because, look, the Canucks need help on offense. Filip Hronek is a guy who he's been traded once. You can see that he can get you a top six center, and a good one at a good age via trade. Whether the Canucks should go down that route, I think that is the question. But if you're going to trade Filip Hronek, it's because dealing him improves your offense, right? You get a big cap number off your book. I mean, I'm not saying he's overpaid. 7.25 is a fair number, but you can allocate that money to center, much like the Canucks, you know, took that money away from center and allocated to defense when they acquired Hronek. But this team needs help up front, and Filip Hronek, he seems like kind of a sneaky trade candidate that most Canuck fans aren't really talking about.
But you are, man. You are. Let's trade Quinn Hughes' best friend. Let's say, you know what? Fired Rick Tocchet, got rid of Rick Tocchet. Rick Tocchet quit, whatever the No, Rick Tocchet decided to move on. Okay, that's life. He said it, I didn't. Okay, that's going to happen. Now we're trading Filip Hronek. Okay, Quinn Hughes. At least we got Adam Foote, though, right? You know what I'm saying?
At least we got Adam Foote.
One step at a time. Dude, it would be something else. It would be, but I get all the reasons why, right? Because this team needs help down the middle. Because it just hit me again. Like they didn't even sign Pius Suter yet, man. Like, I'm just saying, bro. No, real talk. That's a huge thing. I know you slot that guy in as your 3C, but what if one left to Filip Hronek? What if he gets hurt again? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know. So the Canucks need help, especially down the middle. That's where the center of attention has to be this offseason. And Rutherford, I feel as if he would have a lot of fun. And Alvin, you know, not necessarily trading Filip Hronek, but wouldn't that be like a main character type move? Like, that's that's entertainment right there. Rutherford, I feel like that it lines up with them, right? Because they get here, the first move they make is for Hronek. After the craziest season ever, the first move they're going to make to fix their issues is trade Filip Hronek. It's like, what? I can see it. I can see it, man.
Look, again, we got one of the most aggressive front offices in the NHL in Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford. A management group that, again, has pretty much wheeled and dealed more than any other team over the past 3-4 seasons, right? I mean, they have been in the thick of it time and time again, not often for the best reasons. Sometimes I think fans over the past few months argued they've been doing too much wheeling and dealing. But with Filip Hronek, I mean, let's break him down as a player too. I mean, Filip Hronek, again, I think he proved that he can be a top pairing defenseman this year, right? When he first came to the Canucks, he was, basically playing with Quinn Hughes the entire time he was in the lineup. But this season with Hughes gone for a chunk of time, you saw Filip Hronek, he stepped the F up and he looked like, at least a replacement number one defenseman. So I would say that, arguably now the fact that he is on a long-term deal, which is, again, a fairly paid cap hit. He's relatively young. He plays the right side and he's proven that he can play on a top pair by himself. I would argue that he has even more trade value than he did when the Canucks originally acquired him 2 years ago.
Wow. Really, eh? You're pretty much calling him like I was going to say a 1B, but is he as good as Morgan Riley? Filip Hronek?
I think he's better defensively than Morgan Riley,
Ooh! Yes. So, yeah, he's a good player. He's he's not everyone can get a 1A type of guy. And definitely not everyone can get like a Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar type of guy. It's hard to get good defensemen, right? And I think that, we saw this team play a lot of hockey without Quinn, a lot of hockey without Filip Hronek. And, he held his own when Quinn wasn't there. And he also made DPD a better player. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Because there's the reason not to trade him. I want to get as top heavy as possible with this team. And sometimes I doubt that they can fix their issues down the middle this summer. Like if it's not Matt Barzal or Dylan Larkin or Bo Horvat, what's their, who's the guy? No, real talk. Who's the guy that they're bringing in to be that number one type center type guy, right? Because you don't know what you're getting out of Pettersson. So they probably want to replace Miller with a guy like Miller, right? Not maybe how do I say it? Characteristically like that, Trevor. There you go. I'm getting better. 32 and a half years old, because it's hard to find guys like JT Miller. But let's start with the box score. Like, give me some points, produce some offense at that level. So, and I said those three names and there's probably like 5 or 6 available. But if it's not those guys, who is it? And I guarantee those other guys don't cost you Tom Willander. They don't cost you Filip Hronek. And if that's the case, and they plug up that type of player with somebody else, and they just decide to keep Hronek and Willander, then I feel as if there's that 1% chance that this team could have the best decor in hockey, because we know DPD and Filip Hronek can play well together. And I think it's cool to say that Elias Pettersson, DPD, is really good. Like, there's a chance. And let's make his transition. Let's add to his confidence. Let's add to his momentum. Let's make it easier for him to get to the next level by pairing him with Filip Hronek full time. And not a Tyler Myers or whoever else, right? Let's just give him Filip Hronek. They play well together. And let's give Tom Willander a chance to, be that guy. You wanted that extra $17,000 or whatever the number was? Okay, you wanted it? Prove your point, Mr. 17,000. What's the number, Trevor? Well, I don't know what the number is, but I'm going to call him Mr. 17,000 if I'm wrong. Play with Quinn Hughes, handle some top minutes, and excel. And based on the athleticism that I've seen on tape, that could work out too. And then you're talking about, again, the Canucks being top heavy, like really top heavy amongst the elite, like Florida Panthers S defense. Like I'm being serious. Like it's like there's some big names there, and I would like that.
You could almost argue it's deeper than the Florida Panthers D, right? I mean, they were playing like Niko Mikula and Dmitry Kulikov in top 4 roles of points this season. But
I have a different level of appreciation, obviously, for Seth Jones, just based on how he played in Game 7. Like, he looked like one of the best team men in hockey, right? And he has pedigree to him, so maybe confidence for him allows him to be a really good player. And then I also have a lot of appreciation for maybe should have won the Conn Smythe Gustav Forsling of last year, right? So I look at the defense, I'm like, yo, that, and then Ekblad and whatnot. And anyways, if you can't get Barzal, you're not, or one of those guys, you're not trading Willander or Hronek to replace that second C. You just can't do that. You just gotta, again, go into it hoping Pettersson puts up 120 points or something, like have like not the strongest team down the middle. Maybe fix that issue in the trade deadline, but lean into your strengths. And the Canucks, good goaltending and really, 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 really good defense, bro. That's enough to make the playoffs if they're healthy, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I do wonder if there's a trade out there where it's if you're going to trade Filip Hronek, you get a young center and a young D-back, right? Because you got to place, like you said, Kyle, you're right. You got to place a high value on this guy if you're going to trade him. Like, and with Matt Barzal, with Dylan Larkin, again, you got teams who have some depth on the right side. Like, would they even want a guy like Filip Hronek? But it's interesting looking across the NHL, trying to brainstorm guys that could come via trade this offseason. In that kind of mid-20s range, there aren't a lot of guys who you could foresee moving, right? Is it a Marco Rossi? Is it Gabe Velarde? Some of those RFAs potentially on the table. I mean, you still have to, acquire those guys via trade. The Canucks really aren't in offer sheet territory unless they get some of their picks back, specifically that third round pick. So it does get to become a bit grim there. But with Filip Hronek, I think it's a guy that should be on the table for the Vancouver Canucks just because it's a position of strength. Whether or not it actually happens, I don't see it happening, Kyle. I think you're right.
They shouldn't do it. Yeah.
Is on defense. I think Quinn Hughes, that plays a factor as well. It's not necessarily likely, but it's something the Canucks should explore. We'll continue exploring it here.
Here's another thing too, Trevor. God, sorry to cut you off, but it's like, okay, 11 minutes into this rant, and like I know we touched on it a bit. Like, Filip Hronek's pretty good. Like, he's pretty good. Like, he showed me a lot this year. Not like he's not Quinn Hughes. You know what I'm saying? But he also held his own. He brings that snarl. This team doesn't have a lot of dog energy in them for real. He kind of reminds me of one of those guys. Wasn't healthy in the last playoffs. Wasn't healthy again pretty much all of this season. It felt like it. Yet he held his own. I think we've yet to see the best of Filip Hronek, to be honest. For real. And he's intriguing to me.
Yeah, and I did just call him better than Morgan Riley. So all the Leaf fans that tuned in to hear you again after you were pumping their tires yesterday,
hey, hold on.
Benefit of the doubt, they're gonna tune into this and hear that I'm calling Filip Hronek better than Morgan Riley, and then see you later, Leaf fans. Good riddance to you. Sorry about Mitch Marner. We'll be back here on the other side on Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Man, oh man, a couple of nutty guys on Locked On Canucks, and that's why we're sponsored by wonderful Pistachios. Are you looking for the snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Make sure you crack into a good source of protein with wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller for longer. And you know me, I love the no shells variety because I like popping those naked nuts right in my mouth. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk on a road trip or just need a quick protein boost. They're always my go-to. And if you like the teas like Kyle Bowen, the in-shell options are also a classic favorite. Whether you like the teas or you just like popping naked nuts in your mouth, make sure you get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle. That right there's Trevor, second best dad in the world. Hey, man, second or third best friend in the world. Didn't even give me a birthday text on the day of. That's crazy. Trevor Baggs, let us know in the comments. All right, Trevor Baggs, Kyle Bowen, done 800 episodes in the last 800 days, it feels like, of Locked On Canucks. First one was about Filip Hronek, ironically. And this guy doesn't text me on my birthday. Text me 3 days later. And I've been trying to tell you all this. We started off as friends, and now we're colleagues, bro. Now we're colleagues. Anywho, let's get to some comments. Oh, man, Trevor, I'm emotional, man. Okay? I'm emotional, man. It is what it is. Trevor, I saw one of these comments talk about Thomas Harley. I don't know if people are comparing Hronek to Thomas Harley, because I think Harley in the Four Nations tournament, like really, like he stood out. He's giving me like, he's good, man. He's good. He's just good. Like different type of player, but is he sneaky Jacob Slavin type good? Maybe. I don't know. But do you think Filip Hronek can be better? Like, do you think there's another level to his game? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Right? Maybe be more efficient, execute more. Again, I'm not talking about turning into Quinn Hughes or turning into a Norris candidate. I'm literally just talking about like getting to that Slavin Harley type level.
That's a great question. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is, can he hit the net more? I mean, I should look this up, but I think Filip Hronek's got to be up there in terms of missed nets in the NHL. And they do track that stat, so that's something I'll look into. But is a guy who fires a lot of pucks towards the net and often doesn't hit the net, right? So I think, Rick Talkin mentioned Kiefer Sherwood fired 1 million pucks in net this summer. Like, could Filip Hronek do the same and improve that accuracy? Because if he does, maybe he does get into 15-goal territory like Thomas Harley, who, again, got a bit of an offensive boost this season, stepping into Miro Heiskanen's shoes.
Yeah.
In terms of the rest of his game, look, I mean, the Filip Hronek that we saw when Quinn Hughes is out of the lineup, but I don't know if he's going to get much better than that. Just based on his age,
wow.
who he is. Yeah, I don't know. He's pretty aggressive defensively. I think he's pretty reliable defensively. Like every player who's not Quinn Hughes, he has his off night. But I think the guy's a top-ranked defenseman. I mean, how much work can you ask of him?
Well, I don't know, man. You're taking shots at his age. I know he's like 5 years younger than us, 4 years younger than us. And, this is the problem with our generation, Trevor Beggs. You get to this age, you start looking at the youth differently. Oh, back in my day, people who were 27 would never move like Thomas Harley, Filip Hronek, these guys don't. Yeah, have some faith, man, that at the age of 27 or 28, you can get better. And, dude, if Filip Hronek's healthy, like, I want to see him be more healthy. Like, last year, he was relatively healthy, but in the playoffs, he didn't want to talk about it. He wanted to actually... I thought he was about to murder Jeff Pettersson after J-Pat asked about it, but he wasn't 100%. This season, we didn't get to see him at 100% too, and I just, again, I was just proud of his effort, okay? Straight up. Anyways, Trevor, you were late to the episode. I was late to the episode. What else do you want to talk about today, man?
Well, I think one of the main things to me was, again, players who could potentially be involved in the Filip Hronek trade. And it is a tough one, right? But I do look, I'll list 3 players right now and tell me whether you would trade for him straight up or whether you'd be interested in this for a trade. But I'd be looking at 3 players here. And again, similar value to Tom Willander, but probably even more value, to be honest, just based on the fact that he's proven. But I look at 3 guys. I look at Seth Jarvis, I look at Marco Rossi, and I look at Cole Perfetti. Would any of those players, do you think, be of interest to the Canucks if they shook loose in a Filip Hronek trade?
Yo, why do you think Seth Jarvis is just available? Like, what? This is crazy. Now I'm learning more because I watch a lot of hockey now. Trevor, I'm getting up to your level. Okay, I'm trying to get those hours in. I'm watching every other team, and I know you're one of those guys, the propagandists who are like, I'm not spending my hours watching any Carolina Hurricanes hockey. I'm not doing that. I wouldn't do that to my life. I care about my life. I want to spend time with my children. You think I'm going to watch Seth Jarvis in the Carolina? Yo, Jarvis is good. Like, you're not getting Jarvis for Filip Hronek. Like, if I'm Carolina and I'm continuing to like win playoff series, which they are doing, like, obviously they have to take the next step, but it's like, you're not taking the next step if you're trading Jarvis for Tom Willander in the first or blah, 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 or Lecker Mackey or Filip Hronek. Like, you keep a guy like that unless you're, I don't want to say like make a Rantanen type of deal, but they just traded Nacich in a first for Mikko Rantanen before they had to get rid of him. You're keeping Seth Jarvis. Now, Marco Rossi, I don't know. I haven't barely seen this guy play. I'm sorry. Barely seen him play. Cole Perfetti, he's the guy who scored the 2 goals, game 7, first round. I mean, hey, man, it's not as convincing as, Matthew Barzal or Dylan Larkin. I think it's hard to get Dylan Larkin. I don't think we have the pieces in Detroit who's missed the playoffs year after. Like, they're not doing that. They're not doing that yet. But Matt Barzal, like, there's got to be a chance he's available to Trevor. Like, can we just manifest that?
I do think there's a chance Matt Barzal's available, right? And there's just so much unknown with the New York Islanders, new management group coming in here. The fact they got the first overall pick. Are they ready to actually rebuild and go in a different direction or consider a change of scenery trade with Matt Barzal? So I do think there's a chance that he's available now. Yeah, Seth Jarvis, I am dreaming a little bit there. With Seth, it would be Hronek plus for sure. I do look at their back end. I mean, you have Brent Burns, top pairing guy on the right side, who is 40 years old and going to retire. And sure, they have some guys who could step up, but do they have a guy that's ready to be a top pairing right shot defenseman? Again, Filip Hronek, you'd have to add to get Seth Jarvis, but Seth Jarvis is a guy who's been primarily used on the wing. I think he can play center. He has played center in the past. I look at potentially that fit in Vancouver, but yeah, dreaming a bit. And Rossi and Perfetti as well. Rossi has been a pure center, 60 points this season, RFA. I think he's the most realistic target for the Vancouver Canucks because it doesn't seem like the Wild are too enthralled with bringing him back. Now, I think if you're the Canucks, you probably prefer to get a center with a bit more size down the middle. And that's the same for all three of those players. They're all pretty smaller but skilled top six forwards, right? With Rossi, Perfetti, and Seth Jarvis. But, I mean, there just aren't a lot of big centers out there who are available, aside from a guy like Connor McMichael in Washington, who I also think is going to be pretty tough to get out of Washington after the playoffs that he just had.
We'll see, man. We just need help, dude. Again, a lot of moving parts, not a lot down the middle, and just expect the unexpected. Rutherford seems to be having fun this offseason. You know what I'm saying? I feel like anything is possible. And speaking of which, Trevor, we brushed on him a bit. Again, plays down the middle. Before we get to break, do you think about Pius Suter late at night? Or the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, do you think about Pius Suter and how, he's been really good for 2 years? Minus the offense. He could score 13 goals, and I would consider him I'd consider paying him almost $4 million a year. All right. Because he's just proven, and that's, proven to make the PK better and now make the PK elite. He's valuable. Considering that, yeah, we lost Miller, but we don't got to lose Suter. Shouldn't we keep him? Shouldn't this deal get done very soon?
I think if it's in that $4 million range, then yes. I do wonder if Suter and his camp think about, could they get 5+ in free agency?
What? Okay.
Because again, look, he's got elite defensive metrics. He's come off a 25 goal season. It's not a deep free agent class. I think there's a world where Pius Suter can get $5+ million in free agency. I think that's what it comes down to. I think sure, the Canucks will want to keep him. They did a good job last year of getting guys to sign for less, like Joshua, Bluger, Myers. They got those guys to sign for less. Can they get Pius Suter to do it? I'm not quite sure after the season the Canucks just had.
Because I think about Pius a lot, man. I'm not gonna lie. I want to visit Switzerland more, man. To be honest, not just to visit Pius. I just want to try the chocolate out there, man. Back in the day before, I fell in love with the girl from Surrey, I thought I'd fall in love with the girl from Switzerland.
Well, hey, man, I think you and I to go to college to being friends. Maybe you and I need a trip to Switzerland, man.
Okay, so Trevor, why are you throwing me under the bus? I just told you, imagine. Come on, if my girl finds out that after before I met her, I thought my girl was actually in Switzerland. She's gonna already think I fell in love in Switzerland, and now you want to go there, Trevor, man. You just every single day, man. The friendship, yeah. Anyways, Pius Suter, if he played more hockey in the playoffs, I wonder if he would be prioritized or looked at similarly to a guy like Esa Lindell or something. He's just so effective, man. And we saw it in last year's playoffs that I know he doesn't have the execution. I mean, maybe he would get there in this year's playoffs because he got his shot harder. He scored a lot more goals. Maybe he would be, scoring big time goals this playoffs. But in last year's playoffs, he had dog in him, right? He was able to not have the moment be too big and still play his game. And good teams just need a guy like that. And yeah, I would. Okay, if they sign Pius Suter for 4 years, $20 million, are you crying?
Nope, because it's 420, baby.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. Locked On Canucks, brother.
We'll be back on the other side here on Locked On Canucks.
People, we back doing this, and that's shouting out our blog, okay? Substack, link in bio. I hope we're working on one right after this. I'll get it up by today, I promise you. So subscribe to the Substack, learn how to read, okay? The robots are coming. No, I don't know why you're laughing, Trevor. Learn how to read. The robots are actually here. Gary Vaynerchuk just dropped it. He said he believes that his grandchildren will marry a robot, or like our grandchildren would marry robots. So just learn how to read. Protect your family, man. Be a human being, and subscribe to our Substack. And speaking of reading, let's read some comments. Okay, Trevor, this is an important one, and this is not the like the roast of Trevor Beggs. It really isn't. But Ash Neal had one saying that the Oilers are Canada and Trevor's team. I don't know where that comment went. I just had it. Boom. Ash Neal also saying Trevor on his off day is a true Oilers fan. Yesterday I defended the Maple Leafs. Last week you defended the Oilers, saying that, you know, out of all the Canadian teams left, you want the Oilers to win because McDavid. I think I heard that right. I don't know if I heard that right. But Trevor, man, I'm glad you hung out with your family this weekend. I'm glad you hit the road and just escape life, because you need a break, bro. You got to tell me something, Trevor. We can talk about it.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, there's one Canadian team left, right?
It's your team.
I'm not a Canada's team guy. And Kyle, we had this argument in the first round, but if it came down to the Oilers and Leafs in the finals, I said I would cheer for the Oilers, but I wouldn't cheer for the team. And these were the last two teams I would cheer for. So, Ashley, I'll tell you right now, I hope the Stars win. I hope the Panthers win. I hope the Hurricanes win. I hope anybody but the Oilers win. And look, I think McDavid's going to win a cup eventually. Maybe this year's the year, but I hope it's
Trevor.
not, man.
Trevor, see, you're doing way too much there. Now you ended off with, I want McDavid to win a cup. That's what I heard. I know you said you think McDavid's going to win a cup, but what I hear is you want McDavid to win a cup. Ash Neal, man. See what's Ash Neal starting a feud, man. He really is. He's starting a feud here. And I mean, Trevor, man, everyone now can see the elephant in the room. Again, me and you just not seeing eye to eye. Ash Neal, that wasn't a Hindu thing. The elephant in the room thing. Please don't tell HR. Trevor, why are you laughing? Okay, next. And Alex saying Dallas in 6. So that's the energy I like. Screw the Oilers, okay? Puck the Oilers, and screw Matthew Tkachuk. Yesterday we talked about it on the episode. You know, I defended my nation. No, not my nation. I defended the Canucks, because Canucks stands for Canadian. And I just, again, had to support the people from Vancouver based on what Tkachuk said about the pressure cooker that is Toronto. And you know what he's saying, right? He's saying it's a pressure cooker environment everywhere. It really is. And he's also recruiting players to Florida at the same time. All in all, though, did you take offense as a fellow Canuck with what Tkachuk was alluding to? That, you know, it's just like easier to win in Florida than it is where they actually really, really, really care by the millions.
Did I take offense to it? It's a good question. I did think that, Matthew Tkachuk, for this, rough power forward exterior, he seems like he's soft as baby shit on the inside. That's really what I felt by listening to those comments about Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, look, he leaves Calgary, small market, but a hockey hotbed, for the Florida Panthers, a team that he chose to go to, to get to the sunshine, escape the media scrutiny. And, I do believe that, winning means a little bit less when you play in front of fans. You don't really care that much. And players should care about that. Maybe some do. I'm sure some like Matthew Tkachuk don't. But yeah, I do think, these comments about the circus in Toronto affecting things. I think it's a loser mentality for sure, man. And I don't think he's as much of a winner when he says things like that, playing for, again, one of the saddest hockey markets in the world. Kai, you said on your program yesterday, the Florida Panthers are giving away tickets to cereal boxes 20 years ago, right? They've come a long ways, and it's only because they now have a winning team.
No, it's only because of revenue sharing. I said that too. It's only because of the Canadian dollar, the hardworking Canadian dollar. My people up here working at Tim Hortons all the time, 24 hours. Okay, 24 hours, bro. Is Starbucks 24 hours? Trevor, can you answer that question? You ever ran into a 24-hour Starbucks? Hell no, bro. So my people, my Canadian people working at Tim Hortons 24 hours a day, as a fellow Canadian, those same people keeping the Florida Panthers alive, because in the NHL, revenue sharing just kept all these garbage organizations breathing because of the hardworking Canadian dollar. Matthew Tkachuk, you owe us an apology, man. You know what you gotta do? You gotta, because we made you a millionaire, and you gotta just, when the Olympics come around next year, you gotta say, you know what? I gotta sit this one out. Straight up. Next question. And look at Calvin, man. Calvin saying I worked at Tim Hortons as a midnight baker. Calvin, listen to me, man. If you see Matthew Tkachuk walking down the street, right? You walk past him, turn around, and you... Man. Ash Neal also saying the Oilers own the West. I know this episode is all over the place. We got to get to writing, but I want to ask Trevor this too. Again, we're trying to get to the bottom of why Trevor's just acting off, okay? Acting just something's going on here, Trevor. We got to just breathe in, breathe out, baby. Anyways, are you more emotional these days because the Oilers are still good? Like still really good? Like, you know what I'm saying? They're better than they were last year. We could have ended them. Are you watching Game 5 highlights at night 3 times every night from last year, game 2? Like, because I am, and I'm petty, and I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I don't really want to give Ash Neal and the Oilers fans who tune into our show apparently too much ammunition. But yeah, the Canucks were 1 win away from potentially setting the Oilers into a completely different direction. And as Ash Neal said, Oilers put the Canucks in a rebuild, man. I'm unbelievable, man. So yeah, I'm bitter, man, and I hope the Oilers don't win because of it.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, Brian. I know I've been bringing up some other teams here: Toronto, the Oilers, all this stuff, Florida. I know. Maybe you know what, Brian. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. You know what we should have done? You know what we should have done right here, man. We should have spent the last 12 minutes in late May talking about how Teddy Bluger, if given the right opportunity, could be the second line center we think he could be. Because right now, based on the Canucks being where they are, they need a teddy bear. And isn't it ironic how we have Teddy Bluger? I know we should have done that. Sorry, we talked about other things, bro. I'm sorry,
you
Trevor.
Know what? I got to say there's a couple good Canuck based comments. Let's get to 1 or 2 before we get out of here. On Locked On Canucks. Mother Knucker with the strategizing. Okay, why don't we trade Jonathan Lecker-Mackey and our number 15 pick and move up and get Roger McQueen? He says 6'4". I think he's also at 6'5" most places. 220 right shot center with a huge ceiling. Mother Knucker. He loves the guys with truculence and big biceps. I really like Roger McQueen if he could follow the Canucks in that range. And I do think from just watching tape, I mean, Roger McQueen's incredible, but he played 17 games this season and missed most of the season with back injury, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to get to the Canucks at 15, but I don't necessarily think you have to trade Lecker-Mackey and a 15th to move up and get him. Like, I think McQueen's going to fall probably to, at the earliest, probably that 8, 9, 10 spot, maybe even get into the, that 11, 12, 13 range.
Mother Knucker, man. What are they selling you down in Dallas, man?
Jonathan Lecker-Mackey. I mean, Mother Knucker doesn't like the small guys like me, man. What the hell?
Yeah, Mother Knucker, you got something against. Come on, man. What's his name? This guy's name's Lightning McQueen or something? No wonder this Mother Knucker wants him, man. All-American, man. Come on,
big
dude.
Cards guy. Big
John, he's willing to trade the former 15th overall pick and the 15th overall pick to go up to number 8 to draft a guy. That is, America, this is why, I know it's expensive, but don't be buying your Angus Wagyu from Walmart, okay? Go to Whole Foods or something else just because Mother Knucker, you got to call in sick tomorrow, okay? Please. You want to get to another comment, man? Okay.
I have this one here lined up. Pickle Rick. Tickle your pickle. Let's go. Hronek for Josh Norris. No.
Okay, Pickle Rick is definitely from America too, man. You's drinking the same water Matthew Tkachuk is drinking. Straight up. Dude, the Canucks tried apparently, and I guess this is why you're reading the comment. Like maybe you brushed over this too, but the Canucks, I've seen this twice now. Like maybe they were trying to trade Filip Hronek for Josh Norris not too long ago. Like they've already been in the sweepstakes, and I'm glad Josh Norris I know Heedle's always hurt, but Norris is always hurt too. And there's no way Filip Hronek is 3 times better than Josh Norris. For real. Way more important, way better.
3 times better. I mean, availability is important, but Norris is still a good player.
I forgot Josh Norris was born in Edmonton, Trevor. I forgot about that.
Quinn Hughes' best friend, man.
You used to be my best friend too. You used to be my best friend too, Trevor. Look what happened. Now we're just colleagues, right?
Yeah, okay. I do feel bad. I forgot to send you the happy birthday text. I was in the States, but I gotta make it up to you, man.
Oh, you're in the States, right? Oh yeah.
Sorry, man.
Okay, yeah, it is what it is. Like, there's Wi-Fi, Trevor. You can't fool me with that one, bro. Okay, everyone, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Should Kyle leave Trevor because Begsy is taking this job too serious? This was supposed to be an experience, but you're taking it too serious. Delirious. My name's Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs. Join the Discord. Link in the bio. Best place to talk about Canucks when you're on the toilet. 18 plus only. And the Substack. We're gonna write right now. I'm gonna get that up in a couple of hours and learn how to read because the robots are coming. And yeah, okay. Trevor shut me up because I was about to say something and it was gonna.
All right, Kyle, shut up, and I'll shut up too. We'll catch you next time on Locked On.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.